Namaste, namaste, and welcome to this short video practice, which has been recorded for one of my one-to-one students who was struggling with tension in the back body, so in the posterior chain, primarily around the hamstrings. But as we all know, sometimes if we feel it here, it's also happening other places as well. So I came up with this really small sequence that uses a chair or a kitchen counter. You will need something to put your foot up onto as well. So if a chair is too high for you to put your foot up onto, I've also got my feet up stool here at the side just to provide a lower thing, but you could use a block or a stack of books or a stool of some kind as well. And you don't need a chair. You can use a kitchen counter or a wall or the back of a sofa or a table, anything else that you can rest your hands on. So let's go through a few moves that perhaps will help us find a bit of space down the back of the body. Apologies for the big jumper. It's a bit chilly here today. So I'm going to start with a variation of down dog using the back of my chair. And stepping the feet out. So here we want to have the feet a reasonable distance apart. And as you bend the knees a little, we want to lengthen the tailbone, the bottom of the body behind the heels if possible, or at least in that direction. What we want to avoid is having the feet further away so that we're leaning towards our support here. So soften the knees, thinking about lengthening the tailbone back to keep the back of the body nice and long. So we naturally have a curve in the low back. We're almost straightening that out. And then creating a little bit of length across the buttocks by just creating that length of the tailbone backwards. And we can begin with a gentle sway of the hips from side to side. So lifting in your belly muscles, keeping the back of the neck nice and long. Try not to dangle your head here. It's not useful. Keep the back of the upper back and neck engaged just enough to hold in a neutral position. Press into the hands and just keeping the knees nice and soft, little sway of the hips from side to side. And that helps us to find a little bit of space in the low back where sometimes we have a touch of a sort of compressed or tight feel. When you're ready, coming back to center, just walking towards your chair, taking a break to release the shoulders and just kind of feel your way into whether that's a useful movement for you. As we work through this sequence, there might be some movements that are less useful, and it's okay to just leave those out if they don't work for you. So the next practice, exactly the same position, but we're going to do it in a slightly different way. So we're going to be thinking about lengthening one leg while we bend the opposite one. So we come back into that downward dog pose on the chair, pressing into the hands, firming the belly muscles, gliding the tailbone back slightly, and then think about lengthening into one leg and then the other. So instead of just swaying from side to side, now there's a little twist through the hips as well, and it's really gentle. And you can give it a bit more welly if you'd like to. You can turn the head from side to side as you go, and just begin to feel perhaps a bit more length. I feel this more over the buttocks and into the backs of the legs. And we'll just do a couple more to each side so we get a really good opportunity to explore that sense of length. And then coming back to center, pressing into the hands again, coming to a more upright position, giving yourself a little wiggle or a jiggle or a shiggle. I'm sure shiggle's not a word, but we do talk about shiggling quite a lot in Scotland. It's exactly that. So our next one is again very much a similar movement, but I have a ladder chair here, so I can move my hands down to a level that feels good to me. And I'm also going to take two blocks and pop them here at the bottom so I can come even lower still. So it's up to you. It depends on how much space you've got to move into, how far down you come. The key thing with trying to create length where you've got tightness is not to overstretch. So if you go as far as you can, your body begins to tense against coming to a point of injury, you're much better to work in that nice, easy space where the body moves well. And that means that it's not about the shape you make, it's about how it feels in your body. So we start in our downward dog variation, thinking about gliding the hips back and keeping the knees bent. I know it feels like you shouldn't, but yeah, knees bent. And then we're walking our hands to a point that feels good, perhaps stopping halfway to where we hope to go. And you can do a combination of that gentle sway, just see if it feels differently here, and then lengthening one leg and then the other, using the hands for support, which means pushing into them. So we're active through the arms. A little turn of the head from side to side, if you like, a little lift in the belly. Explore a little lower. See if this is the place where you stop, or if you want to go further still. Wherever you are, just lengthening one leg and then the other. You can do it as slowly as you like. Faster is not better here. If you wish to, come down lower still. And for those of you who are very stiff in the hamstrings, higher up, much better. But for those of you who are nice and open in the back of the body, you might want to come all the way down to the floor. So you choose your place to be and try not to make it too stressful for the body. So support the body, allow it to open and release. When you're ready, walking your hands all the way back up again, nice and slowly. And then when you come up to standing, just shrugging everything off again, wriggling everything about. Perfect. I'm going to pop my blocks to one side, because I don't need them anymore, hopefully, fingers crossed, and move my chair so that it is sideways onto my space. And here, we sometimes think about the hamstrings as just being at the back of the body, but the muscles of the legs don't just go up and down, they wrap around. And so it can be useful to think about creating space on the inner thighs as well. For this, we take the feet nice and wide apart, whatever feels good to you. Don't step into a position that's already really stretchy and then expect more from the body. Take a stance that feels nice and easy. Some people will prefer their toes to point straight. Some people will like their toes pointing slightly out. And I would advise exploring both to see what suits you best. Starting with a nice upright position, just gliding the weight onto one leg and then the other, bending into the knee that you're standing over, if that makes sense, side to side. We call this as a Skandasana variation, which is quite a deep squat, but this variation higher up helps us prepare for that deeper work. So we're looking to see if we feel anything in this inner thigh area on the straight leg particularly. You can help by rolling the outside edge of your foot into the floor on the long leg, which is quite good. The other thing you can try is turning the toes slightly out to see if that accesses a space that straight feet didn't, which for most of us, it will change the sensation in the legs. And the other thing that you can do is to lean slightly forward. So if you lean slightly forward and you let your tailbone go backwards, just as we did in our down dog variation, then you get into a little bit more opportunity for that sense of length. And again, not going somewhere where you feel any pinching sensations, particularly across the inner knee, but just easing from side to side. And we're doing a lengthening of the muscle and then a strengthening of the muscle as we go from side to side, a little bit like doing a bicep curl, but for the inner thighs. And if you wish to, at any stage, if you want to hang out on one side and just kind of explore with a few wiggly bits, that's always nice to do. And then the same on the other side, maybe changing the position of the feet ever so slightly. Coming back to center whenever you're ready. Heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in, to come back to standing upright. Perfect. Give your legs a little shake out. And just feel how that feels. You might need a few hip rolls, something like that, but hopefully you're beginning to feel a sense of ease through the legs. So the next thing that I'm going to suggest we do is a lunge with this chair. Now, a chair might be a little bit high to put your foot up onto, and if that's the case, choose something lower. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's not going to move. So if I was really using the feet up stool, I would have it facing the wall. So when I put my foot on it, it wouldn't move out of the way. I would also face the wall. We'll leave it over there for now. So we are stepping up with one foot or the other. It doesn't matter which. You can have your chair back in front of you, so you lean towards it, or to one side is quite useful here. And we're thinking about just lengthening the hips towards the chair and then easing away. If it helps, you can lift that back heel or soften the back knee if that makes it feel more comfortable for you. But we're just easing in and out here. We eventually want to get to the stage where we could quite comfortably do this without having to soften the back knee or lift the back heel. And that might mean that you do this in a slightly different position. Explore how it feels with different heights. A set of actual stairs in your house is a great thing to use for this. As you come in this time, just see if it feels comfortable to hang out here. Again, you might do a little bit of wiggling either of the hips or anything else that feels good, maybe a little turn of the torso. We're going to give this side a bit of a relief by stepping onto both feet, just giving your legs a little shake out. Notice that it's not just one leg or the other that feels like it's done the work. They've both done different things. They both have different sensations. And then we step forward with the other foot. And again, it's just that gentle easing in and out. You might find on one side that you need your feet further apart because you've got a bit more space, or you might find that it's a bit close together for the opposite reason. You might find it's quite nice to wiggle around. It's always nice to see what the body does when you give it an opportunity to move. Lovely stuff. And explore with perhaps softening that back knee a little, seeing if that opens up anything for you, or lifting the heel a little. You just don't know what might be the sweet spot for you. The next time you come in, just holding for a moment. Very nice. And then releasing out. Again, just noticing the difference between the two sides, giving yourself a little hip wiggling, any other movements that feel good. And we're going to come back to doing the first side again. So as we step forward onto the foot this time, I'd like you to think about what you're doing with your pelvis. So the first time we were just exploring what space we had, but here, do you naturally stick your pelvis out as a way to shorten the length? Can you tuck your pelvis under as a way to find a little bit more length down that long leg that's on the floor? We don't want to tuck under so much that the feeling is super intense, but we do want to just explore what's available to us. So in a lunge of some kind, just rocking the hips backwards and forwards like a pelvic tuck and untuck. Very nice. And then in the position that feels good on that extended leg behind you, reaching that same arm up. So I've got my right foot on the floor, I'm lifting my right arm, maybe going to lean over to the left a little. It feels really nice. And then coming back to center, I'm also going to try twisting towards that bent knee. It doesn't matter what you do with your arms here. You could just do a little flamenco, but it helps if you keep the elbows open to keep the chest open so that the effort of the twist is coming from the upper back as well. We can untwist, we can go the opposite way with our twist. Come back to the center, we can reach the opposite arm up and over. It doesn't achieve quite the same sensation of length, but it's nice to do that movement with the hips in this unusual position. And then we can shake ourselves out, just feel how that feels. It's good, isn't it? And then same thing on the other side. So particularly if getting onto the floor to do things like lunges and downward dogs, skandasana, that side-to-side surface squat, if that is not available to you, or if it's just not comfortable when you do it, use the chair for support. So again, we're opposite way round now, right foot forward, left foot back. In my case, maybe you're doing the opposite. Just playing with the tuck of the pelvis, little tuck under, little tuck back. Find what feels like a nice lengthened position without too intense of a stretch. We don't want to feel like we're doing anything unusual in the hip joint either. We want the hip to feel supported. And then we're reaching the same arm as our leg up and over. It might be that you just engage the belly muscles a little bit more. You might be able to just come into your lunge a little bit more to feel that sense of length. Beautiful side opening, beautiful hip flexor release as well. And then coming back to center and then taking cactus arms if you want to, ole arms if you prefer, and just doing a twist towards that bent knee. Lovely. We can unwind and twist to the opposite side. We can also do a side bend to the opposite side. And then when you're ready, stepping onto both feet again, giving yourself a little shake out. Awesome. So it might be, if you're particularly concerned with a sense of ease through the body, it might be strength is one of the things that you are needing to develop. And we can do that also with our chair, countertop, sofa, table, wall. And we're going to do it again, coming back into that sort of downward facing dog. I'm thinking I might need a bit more room actually. Downward facing dog variation. So we can walk the feet away with the hands supported. We're going to keep the feet quite close together on this one, and then slide one foot backwards. I'm going to use my left foot first. It doesn't matter which you choose. Use your hands pressing down or into your support, and then we're just gently going to lift that leg up to wherever it goes up to and lower down. We're not looking for a back bend. We are looking for strength in the standing leg, firmness across the belly, and engaging the buttock of the leg that we're lifting. So we're going to do about 5 of these, but you could do as many as 5 sets of 5 or 10 sets of 5 if you wish. Once we've done 5 of these, we're going to bend the knee round through the spine, bring the knee into the chest, and then press through the standing leg, lift the heel of that bent leg up behind us. So we really engage the hamstring at the back of the body and also the buttock. So rounding and then lifting through with the heel, rounding under, pressing up and back. We're going to do 2 more of these. Nice and lifted in the belly muscles, still using the arms for support. It's all about the low body. When you're ready, bending that knee into the chest, stepping onto both feet, and then just taking a moment to wiggle from side to side, find some length, make sure it feels good, swap feet. So with the right leg now extending back behind you, pressing into the chair, little softness in that standing leg, which is left now, and firming the belly, lifting the right leg straight up and down. We're not looking to go above hip height because we don't get any prizes for bending backwards. Not in this position anyway. So just thinking about engaging through center. I think we've got 1 more to do. I was aiming to do 5 on each side. From this one, we're going to bend the knee into the chest, rounding the spine, and then press the heel back and up to come into a pose that really engages the hamstring and the buttock. Bending the knee forward, and then pressing the heel back. Let's do 3 more of those, tucking up and under, pressing the heel back. And as you bring the knee forward, think about drawing the thigh into the body as well. And 1 more. Still pressing into the hands for support. We're going to let that knee come forward so that the foot can come down. Widen the feet, give your hips a little sway from side to side. little soft in the knees, maybe a little turn of the head from side to side as well. And when you're ready, pressing into your hands, coming all the way up into standing. Now, if that is quite tiring to do all 5 of each of those exercises to each side at the same time, particularly on the shoulders, then just come up in between sets. Not a problem at all. But you're aiming to be able to do about 15 of these with ease. And that's a really good place to start. And by strengthening the hamstring and the buttocks, actually not all of the glutes, but some of the glutes, then you might find that a well-supported body it's easier to find length in that body than it is if you've got sort of relaxed or weak muscles. So I hope you found this really, really useful. There is a follow-up to this, which is a sequence done on the floor, also for the same client. But I thought I would leave you with this little snippet just now. And I will look forward to seeing you for another practice again soon. Enjoy, enjoy. Always practice safely, doing what's right for your body. Namaste.